Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is July 5th, 2019. In this video, I want to talk about the death of coal billionaire Cline, who is said to have died in a helicopter crash near the Bahamas yesterday, July 4th, 2019. And in this video, we're going to do what I always do, which is show how these deaths, whether it's celebrities, actors, athletes, they seem to be happening by a numeric code taken from the Bible and the story of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. All of these deaths seem to be replayed numerically in the media. And the reason I do this work is not just because this code is happening with celebrities and people we see on television, but because this code also appears to be happening in real life as well. Understand that we're going to be talking about a man named Christopher. And when we talk about rituals relating to the death of Jesus Christ, we very, very frequently see people named Chris. And you're listening to the voice of someone whose cousin passed away back in the year 2004 due to a stroke. And he was a very healthy young man, had a stroke on a Saturday, wound up having a second stroke 3 days later, and then he passed away. And if you think about the story of Jesus, crucified on a Friday, rose on the third day. And it's things like this that really make me wonder what type of reality we're really living in. The story of the crucifixion of Jesus takes place in the New Testament during the four Gospels, and three of these four Gospels talk about darkness falling over the sky while Jesus was being crucified. And as I expose in all of my videos, major celebrity deaths are rituals in relation to the dates on which total solar eclipses occur. The component of numerology I focus on most closely in my videos is the language of Gematria, the ancient practice of coding numbers into words, a practice that originated in ancient Hebrew and Greek languages and appears to be very much well and alive in today's English alphabet. So, with that, let's pop on our Gematria goggles and dive into the numbers and see how this all occurred by the eclipse crucifixion code. So for starters, let's look at the Gematria of the name Jesus. Notice how using the alphabetic order, Jesus sums to 74, J the 10th letter, E the 5th, S the 19th, and so on. This 74 number is very significant. Jesus was crucified on the cross, which sums to 74. The word killing has this value of 74. He was the Messiah. His story was told in the gospel in the form of parables. All of these words summing to 74. And what you're looking at right here with the alphabetic order is called simple English gematria. The word simple sums to 74, so does English. The word gematria, also 74. This practice, an ancient Jewish practice based in mysticism. Now notice how Jesus also has a reverse value of 61. This story is about a billionaire. Notice how billionaire also has the value of 74 and 61, just like the word Jesus. Chris Kline's Wikipedia page reveals that he was born on July 5th, 1958, meaning he died just one day before his 61st birthday. But if you include the end date, you'll find he was a span of exactly 61 years old, just like the gematria of billionaire and Jesus. This number also represents 610. This brings us to Jewish gematria, the cipher based in the Latin alphabetic order, an extremely significant cipher, certainly the most significant outside of the base methods. In this cipher, the word crucifix has a value of 610. The other large number cipher you saw on the left side of your screen is similar to Jewish Gematria, but uses the current 26-letter English alphabet. We call this method English Extended. And notice how the name Christopher Cline, his full name as it appears here on his wiki page, sums to 740. And we'll look at the rest of these numbers in a minute. Notice how the phrase coal billionaire also sums to 74, just like Jesus, just like billionaire. And the date he died was July 4th, written 7/4. And think about how July 4th is the national holiday here in America. The word holiday equals 74. So does the phrase Independence Day. 74 using the standard reduction method. What also stuck out is that Cline's business, Foresight Reserves, is headquartered in St. Louis. And notice how St. Louis also has a 74 using the reverse alphabetic order, where Z is assigned 1 and A gets the number 26. And this number 74, in Jewish Gematria, total solar eclipse equals 704. And of course, this man died just 2 days after the 2019 total solar eclipse. Perhaps also worth pointing out that coal billionaire has a value of 137. This is the same as the phrase total eclipse, 137. Now, another important thing to understand about the study of numerology is prime numbers. Every number is made up of other prime numbers unless it itself is a prime number, meaning it's only divisible by 1 and itself. 137 is the 33rd prime number. So not only does total eclipse equal 137, but the word eclipse sums to 33 in reduction. And it's believed by many that Jesus was 33 years old when he was crucified. Crucifixion of Jesus Christ equals 303 in ordinal. Yesterday, Chris Cline is said to have been killed just outside the Bahamas. And check out how the Bahamas sums to 33 in reduction. Now, there's more connections with this number. Using the alphabetic order, 33 has a value of 156. In ancient Hebrew, the word eclipse equals 156. This is because eclipses always occur either 1, 5, or 6 lunar months apart from one another. Chris Cline was a West Virginia coal billionaire. And you even see that the governor of West Virginia tweeted about his friend after he died. Also in the alphabetic order, West Virginia equals 156. This man died on the date July 4th, which also sums to 156. So we're talking about how this is all in relation to the eclipses. We saw the 33 reduction value of eclipse, but what about the alphabetic ordinal value? 69. This is interesting because an eclipse is an intersection of the two largest circles in the sky, and the word circles also sums to 69 and 33. The governor of West Virginia, Jim Justice, he was born on April 27th, 1951. Meaning that on the date his friend died, he was in the 69th day of his 69th year since he was born. So we have essentially two 69s. Again, we're including the end date and I guess the end year as well. In Jewish Gematria, the word eclipse equals 192. And this sticks out for another reason. In Gematria, there's a special cipher called English Sumerian, which is based on the alphabetic order 1 through 26. However, it multiplies each value by 6, 6 being the number of times, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour. Of course, 6 times 4 is 24, and that's how many hours are in a day. Well, using this Sumerian method, Christopher Cline sums to 1,092. And this stands out because he died in the Bahamas, which sums to 192 in reverse. But if you're familiar with my work, you understand that the number 1331 is perhaps the number that single-handedly represents a solar eclipse. See my post linked down in the description below to see more on this and how it ties into the eclipse that occurred in the year 1331. So what stuck out to me is how the word coal equals 13 in reduction and 31 in ordinal. And I even neglected to mention how coal equals 74 in Jewish gematria. This was a bit of an oversight on my part. But also notice how coal sums to 77 in the reverse value order. This is the gematria of Christ, 77. The name Cline equals 77 in Jewish gematria. Using the standard alphabetic order, the name Chris has a value of 57. Not only that, but the name Christopher Cline sums to 570 in Jewish gematria. So this makes it appropriate that he died in a helicopter crash. See how helicopter sums to 57 in reduction. See here how he died outside of the Abaco Islands. Abaco equals 57 in Jewish gematria. The Bahamas equals 57 in reverse. And on his Wikipedia page, notice how they put something in quotes here, and it's always significant when they use quotation marks. They called him New King Cole. And notice how New King Cole also summing to 57 in the reverse order. This also shares a 51 with helicopter. 57 and 51 are also the values of the word moon. And it's the moon that, of course, covers the sun during a total solar eclipse. And there's more moon connections as well. Check out the name of his business, Foresight Moon 218. In Jewish gematria, moon equals 170. This also a number of sacrifice in the reverse order. The name Chris Cline sums to 170. Also notice the 100 in ordinal. Helicopter accident summing to 100 and 170. Also notice the 55 overlap, Chris Cline helicopter accident. And this accident occurred in the Abaco Islands. In ordinal, this also sums to 100. And in reduction, Abaco Islands, Bahamas, even 55, just like helicopter accident, just like Chris Cline. Also notice how Billionaire Chris Cline, which they refer to him as in the headline, gives us an ordinal value of 206. This brings us back to the sacrifice code, sacrifice 206 in Jewish. And what I also noticed is that his helicopter took off from Grand Cay in the Bahamas. Notice how they highlight Grand Cay right here on CNN's news feed. Well, notice how Grand Cay equals 73. This is the ordinal value of sacrifice. And if you read this article further, they even mentioned how it's called Big Grand Cay. Big Grand K Bahamas equals 73 in reduction, just like ritual sacrifice, 73. Finally, there's a couple more simple connections here. The name Christopher Cline in the most basic alphabetic ordinal cipher sums to 182. This is the same value as the word crash in Jewish Gematria, 182. And notice how his name sums to 88 in reverse reduction. In single reduction, with the S exception, helicopter crash sums to 88. So undoubtedly, this man's death, 100%, no, 1,000,000% related to the eclipse crucifixion code that we've become so accustomed to over the last couple of years on my channel. All of these people dying by a code. And, was this man murdered? It's impossible not to speculate that he was. But one wonders how all of these numeric alignments can exist in the first place, all the way down to the age of the governor of West Virginia. It almost seems too finely crafted. Now, while we're on the topic of total solar eclipses and questioning our reality, I want to take a look at yesterday, or not yesterday's, but what was it? When was the eclipse? Tuesday's game between England and the United States. This Women's World Cup semifinal game occurred while the total solar eclipse was, the path of totality was scraping the earth. So this game kicked off shortly after it began. And, we're talking about the number 57 in this video. I want to point out that England has a value of 57 as well in the alphabetic order. The goals of this game all seem to be numeric rituals related to the eclipse. Think about how the first goal was scored 10 minutes into the game. And it was scored by a woman named Kristen Anne Marie Press, whose full name sums to 109 in reduction. Now, the number 19 and 119, very significant to the divine feminine code. Divine feminine sums to 911. The word female sums to 67 in Jewish Gematria, and this is the 19th prime number. So the first goal was scored at 10 minutes, and the second goal was scored at 19 minutes. So here you have, like a little 10-19 combination, right? Well, the number 1019, which has the digits 119, like our divine feminine code, 1019 is the 171st prime number. The woman who scored that goal at 19 minutes, her name was Ellen Tony White. And check it out. Her name in the alphabetic order equals 171. Now, 171 is what we call a triangular number, meaning if you add every number, 1 through 18, you get a sum of 171. And look at what number Ellen White wears. She wears number 18. And her name is the 18th triangular number. Also think about the date of this game, which was the date of the total solar eclipse, July 2nd or 7/2. Her full name equals 72 in both reduction and reverse reduction. Her name also sums to 207, like how in England the date would be written 2/7. Now, if you eliminate her middle name, you find that Ellen White sums to 1,112. She was born on May 9th, 1989, meaning that on the date of this game, she was exactly 11,012 days old, just like her name, 1112. So we mentioned how her goal was scored in the 19th minute. The 19th prime number is 67. The word female equals 67. Think about how recently we've had the Me Too movement. 67. And this is all based in the Metonic cycle. Again, the Metonic cycle is a period of 19 years that syncs up with 235 lunar phases. Notice how Me Too also sums to 235. Women are synonymous with the Metonic cycle because, of course, women have the menstrual cycle. Menstrual comes from the Latin word mensis, which means 1 month. And the menstrual cycle is about the length of one lunar phase. The Metonic cycle is credited to astronomer Meton, and his name equals 67. Once again, the 19th prime number. 19 years in the Metonic cycle. So Ellen White, after scoring in the 19th minute, she again scored in the 67th minute. However, that goal was wiped out due to an offsides call. So White plays for the English team. In English Gematria, the name White equals 722. And this stands out because this year's total solar eclipse reached the greatest eclipse at 7:22 UTC. And of course, UTC is the same time zone that England shares. In Hebrew, total eclipse sums to 227. But my favorite moment of this game occurred after greatest eclipse occurred. So just a couple minutes after Ellen White scored her goal, remember her name is 722, a few minutes later was 7:22 UTC, and that was greatest eclipse. Now, the first goal to be scored after greatest eclipse was off the foot of Alex Morgan. And notice how Alex Morgan wears number 13. You can kind of see it on her national team jersey right there. Her goal came in the 31st minute. So once again, we have a very clear nod to the number 1331 being the ultimate total solar eclipse number. Number 13 scoring in the 31st minute. And check out this woman's name. In the alphabetic order, her name equals 303. This is the same as crucifixion of Jesus Christ, 303, which occurred at the age of 33 under an eclipse, which equals 33. Remember, this was against England, which also has the 33. The name Alex Morgan even equals 47, just like total eclipse. The 47th prime number is 211. Morgan equals 211 in prime numbers. Also notice how her full name equals 201. Her goal made the game 2-1. The game ended with a score of 2-1. This is also the Gematria of Moon, 21. And because England had a player kicked off the pitch in the 86th minute, this means the game ended with 21 players on the field. And the player who got kicked, her name was Millie Bright. Look at her birthday. Not only was it the 21st day of the month, but it was August 21st. Remember the date of the Great American Total Solar Eclipse? That was August 21st, 2017. And that was the most recent total solar eclipse before the total eclipse that occurred during the soccer game. She was 316 days after her birthday. The name Bright equals 316 in English Gematria. So does the name Jesus, 316. So this means that all three women who scored goals in this game were all 30 years old. And there's a couple interesting connections with 30 years old in the Metonic cycle, but just wanted to go over how even women's soccer, occurring 100% by the numbers, and it all seems to be related to the total solar eclipses. So it's pretty wild stuff. I mean, are these games rigged too? You could certainly say they are. But if you look at the goals, some of them are pretty nice. Let's just say they could be very, very well-rehearsed goals. Again, I don't have all the answers. All I can show you is the undeniable numeric connections between what we're witnessing play out in front of all of us. Whether it's sports games, whether it's helicopter crashes, it seems like we're definitely living in the Matrix. And it's my belief that I'm not the first person to come across this code. This is something that's been occulted by these secret societies that have essentially been hoarding the knowledge that help the rest of us grow and find spiritual peace in this world that we live in. Because it's a crazy world out there, what we're seeing every day in the news, there's so much fear, so much to be scared of, but deep within, all of us need to understand that we are all essentially vibrating at a certain frequency within this matrix, and understanding the numbers that are associated with your name and then observing the world around you and seeing how these numbers might pop up at opportune times. I think these are the things that lead to true spiritual peace and awakening in this world, and something that I hope I can help bring to other people. As I mentioned in my last video, I recently came back from Electric Forest, and some friends of mine had costumes for the occasion, and I just couldn't help but notice how some of my friends had numeric alignments with their costumes, like my friend Skylar, for instance, whose name sums to 52. He was dressed as a giraffe, which equals 52. And it's funny because the reason I know this guy is because he's a friend of my sister-in-law's, and my sister-in-law says her lucky number is 13. And then she meets this good friend whose name sums to 169. And 169 is 13 squared, And a few years ago, around the time that I discovered Gematria, I moved into their house. Of course, this is my brother's house, so I was living with him and his wife for a little bit. And when I moved out, I ran the numbers and realized I lived there for 13 months and 13 days. In fact, her new name, now that she got married to my brother, in the alphabetic order, her name is 179. And that's the 41st prime number. Well, 41 is the 13th prime number, so even her full name ties back to the number 13. Another friend of mine who was at Electric Forest, this is his full name. It sums to 62 and 109. And he didn't just show up to Electric Forest this way. He always shows up to parties with a Cat in the Hat on his head. And notice how Cat in the Hat equals 109 and 62. And it really dawned on me while I was there. I was like, this is the kind of thing I want to share with people. How we are all just essentially numeric vibrations, and we seem to be attracted to things that occur on those same vibrational frequencies. And this even goes further. Like his name, this is his common name. We call him TJ. Notice the 99 and 117. Dr. Seuss's real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel, and his name sums to 99. And with the S exception, you get 117, just like my buddy's name. So I present this knowledge to you with the understanding that there is something much more mystical than what I have been leading on most of this time. And perhaps all of this really did just occur by the numbers. But, if we didn't try to bring this knowledge to light and speculate whether or not these people are really being killed. I don't think we're being honest with ourselves, and we're trying to get to. Look, I'm not trying to break the code, but I think it's of utmost significance for people to understand what they really live inside of and how they can better interpret the events that occur in the world around them. So, again, I'm just sharing the numbers. What this all means to you, you can take it many ways, but the way I see it, we live in a magical world. And, we get to share this knowledge with people. We get to, I don't know, enjoy life as it was meant to be enjoyed. So thanks for bearing with me through all that, everybody. I'm going to wrap the video up right there. I just wanted to share those things with you before I cut out. Hope everyone's enjoying the weekend. Oh, snap, Chigozi going to Electric Forest. Well, dude, I'll be there next year again. I'm going to be doing Good Life camping. Can't go back to General after doing Good Life this year, so that would be awesome, man. All right, guys. Thanks again to everybody who jumped in and contributed. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to Zenith of the Alpha. You guys are also my heroes. And, yeah, that'll wrap it up. So hope everyone enjoys your weekend. Hope you all had a great holiday. We'll see you all next time. Peace, love, and God bless. See ya!